Greetings and salutations, my fellow Illumineers. It is me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another Lorcana video. And it finally happened. Disney Lorcana has enacted its very first ban list, and the cards that will appear on this ban list will be none other than Fortisphere and Hiram Flaversham. It is time. I just want to take a little bit of time to kind of talk about my thoughts on this and what this may mean for the metagame coming up. But if you like videos like this, make sure you have subscribed to the channel and tell me what you think about this exciting news in Disney Lorcana. Hopping on in, can we just talk about this for a second? Hiram Flaversham, the menace of the meta, is now no longer a part of the game.
Quite an ingenious scheme, eh, Flaversham? And aren't you proud to be a part of it?
This whole thing it's monstrous.
Was this correct? In my opinion, I say yes. I think Hiram Flaversham was too strong. I think the card has been broken for an incredible amount of time, and something needed to happen. And shout out to the Ravensburger team for acting so quickly on this. The Set 7 meta, the Arcasia's Island meta. I'm sure if you've been playing tournaments, we've been watching some of the tournament reports, you can see that we were completely saturated by Sapphire, and it was completely fueled by Hiram Flaversham. So I think that this was a stone cold hit. Getting him out of the game, I think, will help a lot of other strategies begin to rise and have a little bit more prominence. On the other hand, I look at Fortisphere, and I think maybe Fortisphere was ban worthy, or maybe it wasn't. With Hiram being gone, is Fortisphere still a part of the problem? Maybe the design team felt that having Happy as a Clam still available with Fortisphere and Popsicle could continue to lead to disadvantageous positions for one color group over another. So what does this mean for the metagame? Well, in my opinion, I think that Ruby Sapphire, the powerhouse of the format like it has been, I think it takes a significant step back in its traditional configuration. I think Hiram Flaversham was a complete linchpin to that strategy. Now that he's removed from the game, they're going to have to go back to the lab, retool, and come up with another way to play that color combination. I truly feel that the DKP Shark deck, I think that deck is still very viable, very playable without Hiram Flaversham. I think even in the last meta, and maybe even in this meta, some of those copies were reduced down to maybe 3 copies, maybe 2 copies. So I think the deck can still function without Hiram Flaversham. So maybe that's the role that that deck can take. However, cards like Pete can be even more effective against that strategy, so you will have some counterplay. I would like to see what happens there. So Ruby Sapphire, they're going to have to cook some things. I think that the deck is still very viable. I think the Sapphire Coil probably is another card that could have found its way onto the ban list or into the errata area. But without Hiram Flaversham, I think Sapphire Coil even gets a bit worse as well. So looking at another powerhouse of the format, Sapphire Steel, I think this deck takes a tremendous step back. I think this is the deck that suffers the most without Hiram Flaversham, without Fortisphere. You're losing a key component to what that strategy is trying to do. The identity of this deck is probably going to lean more towards the Kiwi version of the deck, because that deck had some serious success without Hiram Flaversham, without Fortisphere already. You can play this aggro curve style strategy with Alice and Pluto and Docs and things of that sort to refill your hand and continue on to flow through the game. So I can still see that deck being viable. It still has great matchups all throughout the meta. I can see that deck coming in and probably being the new identity of Sapphire Steel, or maybe Sapphire Steel can go back to playing the whole new world variant, Fishbone Quill, whole new world, maybe generate some advantage that way, maybe bring Tinkerbells back in, maybe you can keep Tamatoa in and just maybe add more items, more lucky dimes. Maybe Ariel can be another card that can come back in to help close those games out if you don't want to play Tamatoa. But I still think that Sapphire Steel will be playable. It's probably going to go way back down to that C tier area, maybe high C, low B. I think the deck is still going to be quite good, but nowhere near the powerhouse that it is right now when Hiram and Fortisphere, the full power, is going to be way significantly down. What else does this mean for the meta? So other cards, other decks that I think are going to completely rise way up in prominence. This is a non-fiduciary, I must say, but I am buying my Diablos today. I think Diablo, the Devoted Herald, is a card that definitely should have potentially been on this list as well, sitting right next to Hiram, sitting right next to Fortisphere. However, it was left off, and I think this card is going to come back in a way that we have not seen since it was in his heyday. I think Diablo is going to be heavily played. I think Emerald stocks are going to go through the roof now that Ruby Sapphire is that natural predator that was able to keep that deck under control, well, guess what? Emerald Steel shall return, discard strategies shall return, Diablo strategies shall return. Even that new Diablo deck that we've been seeing taking over the meta already, the Diablo Amethyst Emerald deck with multiple Diablos, multiple shift lines, I think that deck is going to be a menace without Ruby Sapphire to come and oppose it. Also, I believe that Amber Steel is going to be back in a way that we have never seen. Without Ruby Sapphire to oppose Amber Steel, what is the next natural predator? I believe it's going to be very, very tough to beat Amber Steel. I can see a lot of people going from Ruby Sapphire to Amber Steel just to have those incredible matchups, and it's a very skill expressive deck, so a lot of talented players will shift from Ruby Sapphire over to Amber Steel and still continue to have great results. So that might incorporate players to start using characters that have a lot of ward keywords and a lot of characters that can stick around the board, a lot of characters with high willpower to help, or characters with a lot of resist, I think, come back and start seeing playability. So I honestly feel that this was a slam dunk decision from the Ravensburger design team to make this happen. Steve Warner, the lead card game designer, is quoted to have said, it is important to us that we make exciting cards. Occasionally, we may have issues where some cards crop up and are a little too powerful, but it's far better than everything is way too safe and unfun. So there's a steady balance that we have to maintain, and I couldn't agree with that more. So making these really busted new exciting cards is something that I think the design team should continue to do, but at the same time, you have to maintain a balance, and I think this is a good way to start it. Do I feel like the ban list is perfect? I don't. I think they could have hit even more things, but do I think it's a step in the right direction? Absolutely, and I think the game will be much better for it. You're not going to have to sit there and slog out these hour-long Sapphire mirrors all day long. You'll be able to play a variety of different decks. You'll be able to attack the meta in a more direct approach, as everything will have some sort of counterplay. There's not going to be one deck that just you can't do anything about it. You just have to deal with it. I think that is going to be the way, because Ruby Sapphire still will be very playable. Sapphire Steel will still be very playable, but everything else just gets a little bit better now that Hiram Flaversham and Fortisphere are no longer a part of the game. But what does this mean for the future? I mean, this is effective immediately. So starting as of right now, when this dropped on April the 8th at 10 a.m. PST is when this takes effect. So going to your local game store, if you're playing Core Constructed, this is happening right now. Like these cards are gone. They're no longer a part of the game. So you just have to think about that when you are purchasing these cards, when you're buying these decks, or when you're building your deck, that these cards are now out. But looking forward into the future, is this something that we can expect and potentially plan around for as time goes along? And that's something I'm excited to see. For me, at least from my perspective, it's so good that they are able to stay in tune with the metagame. They're actually watching what's happening, and they're making these informed decisions, and they're doing it pretty quick, in my opinion. Arcasia's Island just came out. We haven't even had like set championship times yet, and they see like the brokenness, and they're like, okay, let's go ahead and course correct right now while we still have time and do it immediately. Will this be something that continues on? I hope so. If it turns out that Diablo is this problem that I assess he will be, maybe they put him on the list too. If it turns out that other cards come out and Hiram is no longer this menace that he was, maybe they can bring them back. That's why I do kind of like the ban list model, because you can pinpoint where some of these issues are, remove the issue, have a great game, and then if those issues no longer persist, you can bring the cards right back in and everything's okay. So I got to say that I do love the energy also that's going around the community and all these different discords. There are some people that are tremendously upset, and they're going to be upset because they've had a lot of time, they've developed into these strategies, they bought all these cards, and now their strategy is not going to be as good as it was. All these practice reps they put in, you're really not going to get anything back for that. And that's what it is. But now, on the other hand, at the community at large, I think that this is an overwhelmingly good thing. I don't think anything will ever be perfect, but at least it's a good start and a step in the right direction. I'm so excited for this new meta and what's going to happen. So make sure you guys get down into the comment section and let me know what you're going to be playing in this new Set 7 Arcasia Hiram free meta, and let me know what you think about this ban list. And while you're down there, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if you like videos like this, maybe you'll like more videos I have on the channel, as we are on our way to 2K. But as always, my fellow Lumineers, I am JDZ. I'm on a quest. Shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.